Rain hammered the cobblestones of the quiet city street, reflecting the neon glow of streetlights like scattered shards of glass. Victor Hawthorne, billionaire and titan of industry, strode briskly through the downpour, umbrella held high, mind replaying the details of his endless meetings. The city had a rhythm only he seemed to notice: power, money, deals. But tonight, something unusual caught his attention. A figure crouched by the mansion gates, soaked through, swaddled in layers of ragged clothing. She was small, hunched, almost invisible to most. But the sight of her, pregnant and trembling in the rain, froze Victor mid-step. She lifted her eyes, a mixture of defiance and exhaustion in her eyes. Is, is there anything left? She asked, voice quivering, almost swallowed by the storm. Victor blinked. The words themselves were ordinary enough, but something in her posture, the raw vulnerability, and yet a spark of quiet determination, made him pause. Normally he would have passed by without thought, but tonight he didn't. Inside the mansion, the staff had already noticed the unusual figure. Margot, the housekeeper, wrinkled her nose, muttering under her breath, "Another one, sir?" "Always the same kind." The butler, Edward, stiffened. His expression was neutral, but the tightness in his jaws suggested unease. "She's at the gates again," he said flatly. "Do you want me to call security?" Victor's eyes lingered on the rain-soaked figure through the large iron gates. There was something different about this one. "No," he said quietly. "Let her be. I'll see her myself." The next morning, Victor watched from the study window as the beggar remained outside, now sitting on the steps, a small bundle at her side. Victor noticed the tiny notebook she clutched, scribbling as if she were cataloging every interaction, every movement around her. There was method here, not desperation. He sent Margot to bring her inside. The housekeeper protested, citing propriety, cleanliness, and the rules. "Sir, she's dirty and she has no right." Victor's tone cut sharply through her protest. "Do as I say." Bring her inside. When the pregnant woman stepped into the mansion, her shivering frame immediately drew attention. Victor noticed subtle details: bruises on her hands, the faint scent of illness, worn shoes with holes exposing toes. And yet, there was dignity in her posture. She didn't beg, she observed, cautious but unafraid. As she settled in the sitting room, Victor studied her. I, I didn't mean to intrude," she said softly. Her eyes flicked around the room, wary. I just, I needed to see if there was anything left." Victor raised an eyebrow, not unkindly. "Left? For you?" She hesitated. Then almost defiantly she nodded. "Food, money, anything. I have responsibilities." Responsibilities? Victor's curiosity deepened. He had dealt with hundreds of people in need, yet something about her tone was different. Not pleading, not manipulative, but firm, honest. Over the next few days, Victor watched discreetly as she moved about the mansion. She didn't steal, didn't beg from the staff, and rarely spoke unless addressed. Instead, she quietly organized supplies, mended clothing, and even fed the mansion's stray animals. But it was the nights that revealed the truth. Victor discovered her leaving after sunset, clutching a small satchel. Curiosity, something he had long buried under spreadsheets and deals, gnawed at him. He followed discreetly one evening and found her at a small, decrepit orphanage on the outskirts of the city. There she handed out food, blankets, and gently guided children too young to understand the world's cruelty. Her hands, rough and calloused, handled them with astonishing care. She knew every child by name. She remembered their illnesses, their birthdays, their fears. Victor felt a strange pull in his chest. He had been in boardrooms, negotiating billions, wielding power over entire industries. But this quiet heroism, this selfless courage, was something he had never encountered. Back at the mansion, the staff began to notice her absence during certain hours. Jealousy, suspicion, and whispers spread like wildfire. Edward the butler grew wary, suspecting she might be hiding something more. Margot's disdain turned into irritation. How could Victor favor this woman over the staff who had dedicated decades to the house? Victor, however, found himself thinking about her constantly. He caught himself imagining her story, trying to piece together the life that had led her to the gates of his mansion. He learned her name, Amara. The first major twist came unexpectedly. One evening, Victor returned to find Amara collapsed on the study floor, clutching her abdomen. Panic surged through him. She was bleeding lightly, pale and trembling. I, I'm fine, she whispered, brushing him off. But Victor's instincts refused to accept it. He carried her to the guest room, calling a doctor on the way. The doctor examined her, grim-faced. She's lost a lot of blood, he said quietly. If she doesn't rest, it could be dangerous for her and the baby. Victor stared at her, the reality settling in. This was no ordinary beggar. She was carrying the weight of a secret, the weight of a child and the weight of an entire hidden world. The next day, as Victor reflected on what he had seen, he discovered another layer of mystery. Among her belongings, he found letters, receipts, and small notes that hinted at something far larger. She wasn't just helping orphans. She was orchestrating a network of hidden aid, secretly managing funds, and protecting vulnerable lives from dangers he couldn't yet comprehend. And then came the shock. A figure emerged at the gates, a man in a suit, sharp, dangerous, and familiar to Victor. He asked for her by name. His tone suggested threat, not inquiry. Victor's heart sank. Whoever this was, they were connected to Amara's past. And now they were here. Victor realized with a sudden chill that helping her had consequences far beyond charity. He was stepping into a world of hidden power, danger, and moral complexity. That night, Victor stood by the study window, staring at the rain-soaked streets below. He thought of Amara, of the children, of the mysterious man at the gates, and of the life he had known, a life of power and predictability that now seemed fragile. She had come to him asking for scraps, yet she had given him a glimpse of courage, morality, and a reality he had never seen. And he knew one thing with certainty. Once you meet someone like Amara, there's no going back. As he turned to leave the window, a soft whisper reached him from the guest room. Thank you for noticing me. Somewhere deep down, Victor realized this was only the beginning. The mysterious man waits outside, his presence signaling that Amara's past and her network are not just hidden good deeds. They are dangerous, and Victor has just been drawn into a story that will test everything he knows about power, morality, and loyalty. Victor's hand paused on the doorknob, and in that tense silence he wondered, what would you do if you were in his shoes? He needed to act, but how? The choice was impossible, and the next move could change everything. Now it's your turn. Comment below. What should Victor do next? Share your thoughts and don't miss episode 2 to see the shocking answer.